lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Jeremy Lee in the building and every guest that you ever needed. Sports cards after hours keep the hobby heated. Updates, hobby talk like you never seen it. Sports cards live and none could ever beat it. Sports cards is a lifestyle. Sports cards and we live now. Welcome to another episode of Sports Cards Live with your host, Jeremy Lee.
Here I am. Welcome, everybody, to the PWCC Weekly Hockey Auction live coverage. It is Sunday, March the 26th, 2023, and my name's Jeremy Lee. As always, I want to thank everybody who watches, subscribes, listens on the podcast. Appreciate all of you. Please take a moment and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I don't know what you do on Spotify. Do you subscribe? Do you follow? Whatever it is, please do it on Spotify too. Let's get on with it. Let's bring on Josh Madigan. Welcome back. And how are you tonight?
I'm awesome. Happy Sunday. Ready to talk some hockey cards. Let's go.
Same to you. Happy Sunday to you. Happy Sunday to everybody watching. And if you're listening on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, happy that day to you. Jake Dahl is already here. Name is with us. There's Frank. Frank, we'll talk about Frank in a moment. Says hello to you, Josh. Good to see you, Frank. Josh, there are 313 hockey cards up for auction tonight on the PWCC Weekly. Last week, there was 464. I don't want to try to understand why it goes up and down. I think it's just regular cycles. I don't think it really means much, except somebody had a bunch to sell last month, and maybe they don't this month, and we'll see these. We will see these fluctuations, week, I should say. We will see these fluctuations week for week, week over week. I have starred or favorited 39 lots this week. It doesn't mean that I want to buy them. Doesn't mean that I think they're amazing. It means that I find them interesting for one reason or another. Josh, did you happen to take a tally of how many of the 313 lots were more than were interesting to you? And I know that on the Gong Show, you guys cover 6 or 7 cards that you kind of go through in depth. And I enjoy that part of your podcast immensely. I actually love that part, especially when we're talking about Roji Vachon. But do you have an idea in your own head of how many lots you found to be particularly interesting this week?
Yeah, there's a couple. Definitely the ones that we covered on our show. And then what really stood out to me this week was the amount of 90s Gretzky cards, which kind of is funny that, Frank is listening in right now and was on our show talking all about 90s hockey cards this week. But in general, I did not have a ton of time. We had 17 family members staying at our house this weekend. So our house was a clown car. It was a AAA hockey tournament and other stuff going on. So yeah, I was pretty busy doing that.
Well, I want to shout out the episode that I just listened to. As I was mentioning to you before we went live, I fell asleep with my AirPods in last night, listening to the Frank Porco episode, the 90s masterclass 90s inserts. I want to shout out Frank. I thought he did a great job. I thought you and Troy did a great job asking him questions back and trying to come up with ways to make it all kind of make sense in your own heads. You came up with all sorts of, metaphors or similes that all kind of really made sense to me. And I thought it was a great episode. And I said to you, and Frank, if you're still listening, I think you are, I said, what a gracious guest he was. I thought he was just, it's going to sound maybe strange. I thought it was just lovely to listen to and share the knowledge. And it was really good. So I want to just give my recommendation. You don't have to ask people to listen to your podcast, Josh. I would actually recommend people, if they're not already, listen to the episode, the most recent one. You'll have a new most recent episode that'll drop, 8 hours from now, 10 or 11 hours from now or so?
Yeah, still working on it. But yeah, in theory, yes, it'll be live at 3 a.m. Eastern time.
Yeah, for sure. So, check that out, guys. Frank did a great job addressing those inserts. We've got Matthew Burrows in the house, the Essential Credentials. Matt, great to see you. Was a guest on Sports Cards Live last weekend, and what a fun episode that was. Name is excited to see some cool cards again. Trevor Coulter, welcome to the show. Chuck Clement, good to see you. Frank says Frank, again, great job, and thanks for doing that. Jay-Z in the house. What's going on, Jay-Z? Yeah, lost to chase for you. I wish you all the luck there is. I just was saying to Josh, I'm bidding on like probably 8 items, but none of them are hockey cards. Not only that, none of them are sports cards, but they are on the PWCC auction tonight. So we'll see how I do, and I'll let you guys know what I win and if I do end up winning. Jake Dahl says, what is the difference between Lucky Premium back and a regular Parkhurst back? I think they only did that in 1 year, Jake, and I think it was 53 or 54. And I think the only difference is the back. And I believe that most that I forget the detail. Either most cards had a premium, a Lucky Premium back as like an alternative back, or the first like 50 cards or whatever was in the set were regular backs, and the second 50 or however many were only Lucky Premium. I don't think that's the case. I think it's the former. But check the masterclass I did on the Gong Show about a month and a half ago, and I did cover that there. I'm sorry, I just don't remember the detail. 90s Hockey Collector, good to see ya. Matthew says, what the Gong Show does on Instagram is top-notch. Love it. Me too. You guys do great Instagram posts. Great Instagram post. Name says it is the Fred Sasakamoose year. I think that's 53. Name, is that the Beliveau year, or is that the Johnny Bauer year from the next year? I'm not sure. Jay-Z says Lucky Back was a mail away for a gift list, and Fred has both. So yeah, so it was the first thing I said earlier. 1954. That's not the Beliveau year. That's the second Beliveau year. Thank you, Jay-Z, for that. Jay-Z loves that stuff. All right, so let's just start looking at this week. Josh, sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, so 313, everybody. As you can see here, I've picked weekly auction number 62. We got hockey, we got wax hockey. I think there's only 2 items that come up when I add the wax hockey, but we do it anyway. And you can see what I've starred here. First one being the 1911 C55 Didier Petrie. I don't know how you say it. I think it's Didier Petrie. We'll go with that. PSA 4.5, very strong grade for a card that's 112 years old. $300. Let's just take it. Let's just open this up and take a quick look at it. We're not going to spend a ton of time on all these. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to do image. That'll be a lot quicker and keep our internet stable. Like, you guys can see right away on this card that it's off-centered, but like, that's how these cards are. I actually looked today, and I believe I'm 12 cards short of this complete set. I don't even know if I need this one, but I'm doing it in 5s and higher. So this wouldn't make it into my collection, and I might loosen that up now that I'm less kind of about the grade on the slab and more about how the card looks. But I mean, I haven't added a card for a couple of years now. In any event, centering is, I don't really mind that much if they're off center. Otherwise, really nice card, will make somebody very happy, I'm sure, and it's at $300. Josh, I'm going to go right into the 23 Patterson, the Sprague Cleghorn, and then I'll get your thoughts on these 2 cards. But this is a PSA 4. For me and my experience with the 23 Pattersons, I once owned a complete set. I bought the complete set at the Expo off somebody, and then I sold the complete set because I had already, and it was all KSA graded. That's a Canadian grading company. And I'll just leave it at that. But the average grade was probably a 2.5 or something like that. So these are tough to find in high grade. The Howie Morenz rookie is in this set. That's the key card. I think it's a key pre-war card. But in any event, it's a pretty nice card overall. If you like sepia tone, black and white sort of thing, but a 4, this would be more than welcome into my collection. Josh, any kind of thoughts on, and if you want to address the C56 from 1910 as well, the Katerinig, feel free to, but I just like to get your kind of thoughts on these pre-war cards. Nothing earlier than 1924 up here.
I'm not really familiar with any of the players. So who are these guys as far as historically, like, where do they fit into the game? Are they, any of them stand out to you as being important figures, or are they just nice representations for set builders of really older cards?
Yeah, that's a great question. I believe that Sprague Cleghorn is a Hall of Famer. I don't know if these 2 guys are. And it's funny, as time goes by, my mind just gets more clouded because I feel like if they're Hall of Famers, I will have heard of them. The problem is that I've been working on these two sets for 15 years and I have this one complete, that I see their names in my collection. So it's clouded. Do I know them? Are they familiar to me because they're in my collection and I've been looking at the checklist, or are they familiar to me because they're Hall of Famers? And unfortunately, I just don't know the answer right now to that. I can tell you Busher Jackson is definitely a Hall of Famer. This is a non-graded card, $31 from 1933, the Hamilton Gums. As we come down, this is a key card. I want you to speak to this because I think this is the card that you selected in the auction as on the Gong Show as one of your key cards of interest. And this might be, I got to review the vintage, but this might be the best vintage card in the auction. 51 Parkhurst, Terry Sawchuk rookie card, PSA 7.5 with the PWCC top 15% eye appeal rating, which is very, very impressive. While you speak about this card, Josh, if you don't mind, I'm going to open it up and we'll just kind of take a look at it.
Yeah, this is one that I really think is probably the premier vintage card in this week's weekly auction because it's from arguably one of the most iconic sets, a top 3 rookie from that set, legendary player and Terry Sawchuk, of course. But then too, looking at that PWCC exceptional rating, so there's 12 PSA 7.5s. So being a PWCC, that would put it in the top 1 or 2 of the total PSA 7.5s. From a little bit of context out there too, there's 58 PSA 8s, 9 PSA 8.5s, 8 PSA 9s, and 1 lonely PSA 10. So there's 76 graded higher technically.
That seems like a big number to me as far as graded higher. That 1 lonely PSA 10, what would that sell for? I think that
Crazy.
The number that immediately gets into my head is like 80 grand, but I could be low. It could be 100, it could be 120. I'm not sure. But that's kind of where I'm at. As I zoom in, and you guys, if you know me, you know I'm all about registration, and it does look to me like the magenta or the red plate was placed about a millimeter to the left. You can see the red coming right into his cheek here over this black outline along his jaw and the side of his face. So, and you also see it coming up over here. You see it coming past this darker shadow here. You see the red coming to the left of it. You see it throughout. You can tell you're missing some red over here, like right where my mouse is. I believe there should be red there. So, but this card in every other respect is a superior card. And, PWCC gave it the exceptional rating. I would venture to guess that if this registration was a little bit better, it would have gotten the superior, which is top 5%. And, when PWCC mentions these eye appeal ratings, it's based on the versions of the card that have passed by their desk. So, it implies that they've seen, if this represents the top 15%, it implies that they've seen at least, what is that, 6 to 7 copies of this card pass through their offices. So it's a great card, $3,400. Josh, do you have any data on kind of recent sales or recent comps, or the most recent comp on a 7.5? And because it is exceptional, I would be taking the comp with a grain of salt, because people are more and more these days realizing that a card with high eye appeal is worthy of more money, and people are actually putting their money where their mouth is when it comes to that. So I'm curious, Josh, if you have any sort of historical data on pricing.
I do. This past December, it sold for $4,530. All-time high is $5,520 last April in the PWCC Weekly.
45.30 and 55.20. I've actually written that down in case at the end of the show, we see what it sells for. We can compare it. So great card, a card that, I actually don't own one of these right now, Josh. I used to own a Sawchuk rookie. You mentioned it's a top 3 rookie card from the 51 Parkhurst. It is solidly the 3rd best card in that set. So yes, it's a top 3, but it's not like it might be 1 or 2. It's clearly in that 3 spot. Yeah. And with 1 and 2 being very deservedly occupied by Gordie Howe and Maurice the Rocket Richard. So, but this is a card, Josh, I coveted this card since the 80s. This is a card that I wanted for so long. I had one, and I, for whatever reason, I moved it. And yeah, I guess one day I'll probably bring in another one. To the right of this card on the screen right now, with Butch Bouchard, Paul Masnick, we're not going to touch on those cards. They're low grade, they're common cards. But this is the Gordie Howe 53 Parkhurst. It's in an SGC 1, and I want to open this up. I don't even have it starred or favorited, but because it's a third-year Gordie, and it's such a low grade, like what an opportunity for somebody who's building a low grade set to pick up a card for what'll probably be relatively cheap. It's $120. That's relatively cheap, but you have to be able to tolerate, the staining we're seeing along the bottom here, right around the blade of the stick. And that's not a great place for this staining to be. I'd prefer it was over here along with, we got a big crease coming right down there, but it's an SGC 1. So I think, you kind of know what you're getting with that card, but not a terrible card for $120 or what'll end up being $144. Continuing on, more 54, this was 53. We get into the 54s. So this is a lucky premium, as we talked about earlier. Nestorenko, Keith Allen, Hal Lako, Bob Armstrong. Nothing there that really interests me too much. Gus Bodner, Paul Ronti, Camille Henry. I used to have a copy of this card. And Dean Prentice, lucky premium back. Some are lucky, some are not. 54 tops. A lot of people consider to be the nicest hockey card set of all time, at least as far as vintage goes. I'm not going to argue with that, but it's not my favorite as far as design goes. I think that the Gordie Howe card in this set, which we haven't seen at auction on PWCC for a while, is it's like that card is an A+ in design and presentation, and then every other card in the set doesn't do it as well for me. I don't find the other ones to be as nice, but maybe that's just because I'm so used to the Howe, and it is an iconic card, and it's been named to the hockey Mount Rushmore of hockey cards. Not his rookie, not his 51 Parkhurst, but the 54 tops Gordie Howe. Even though it's not in the auction, I want to ask you, Josh, what are your thoughts on that a non-rookie was named? And this, when I say named to the Mount Rushmore, this was done by PSA and Joe Orlando probably 15, 20 years ago now. And that card, the 54 tops, made the Mount Rushmore, not the 51 Parkhurst. Does that make sense to you?
It does if you're basing it on just like card design and maybe the era or the time period or something significant that happened this year. If you're talking about just like the most important cards in the hobby, I would have to think about that, I think, a little bit more, because Mount Rushmore implies 4, right? 4 faces. And I don't think I would consider that one of the 4 most important hockey cards ever created.
I think back in the day, and I can sort of like put myself in Joe Orlando's head and say, well, it's a lot nicer, bigger than the 51 Parkhurst. It's tops, which he would have been more familiar with than Parkhurst. Not him necessarily, but that audience. So I understand why they did it. But to me, the rookie is the more important card. And for that matter, just get one of each if you can, because that way you don't have to worry about it. Josh, we've been talking about Marcel Dion, it feels like, for a couple of weeks, but this is a PSA 8.5. That's a pretty high grade for a 71 O-Pee-Chee. This card, we've looked at these cards over the last few weeks, and oftentimes they're way off centered. I love how on 71 O-Pee-Chees, it's so easy to assess the centering just by looking at a card on a screen based on the width of the border between the outer edge of the oval, the blue oval on each of the right and the left side. And this one, I think this is really nicely centered, but I can see that this border here is slightly narrower than this one here. And, if it was just shifted a tad to the left, who knows, maybe this is a PSA 9. But in any event, this is a fine copy for somebody to grab. Centering is great. The print looks good to me. I'm not seeing any like print marks or, stray ink marks anywhere. Top edge looks great. Top corners look really good. This one, maybe not a perfect 90-degree angle, but not that bad. Left and right edges look good. You see the rough O-Pee-Chee cut right here on the other side of the oval. So that's something to make sure you're going to be okay with. As you come down, bottom left corner looks like just bang on. Bottom border looks beautiful. Bottom right corner maybe is just a little bit less than perfect. Actually, let's zoom in even further and get a better look at that if we can. I'm curious what it is. Yeah, it's not maybe just a little bit of corner wear on the bottom, but it's not that bad. And look how far zoomed in we had to go to even see it. So I think it's properly graded by PSA, and I don't believe no, PWCC didn't give it an eye appeal designation. Josh, what do Marcel Dion is like a top 5 career scorer in NHL history. What are your thoughts on the Dion card, and based on some of the other ones we may have seen in the recent weeks where they've been way off centered? How does this one look to you?
The card looks really nice, and actually I'm excited that you stopped on this one to talk about, because as I was looking at the auction and going through some career numbers, just doing research for our show, I had the thought this week, and I'm still a newer kind of student of the history of the game, and I've been meaning, or was hoping to get to ask you why he doesn't have more prominence from a vintage perspective, given he had 731 goals, and it seems like a little bit of a disc. You look at the numbers, and then you see how he, not that people disrespect him anyways, but he just isn't mentioned in that often in that upper level group of guys. And so I was hoping to ask you if there's a reason for that.
Yeah, I have 2 answers for that. The first one is the obvious one. He never won a Stanley Cup. So that hurts a little bit, unfortunately. The second one is that he played almost his whole career in Los Angeles. So if you remember in 1988 or 89, when Wayne Gretzky got traded to LA, that put hockey on the map in Los Angeles. Marcel Dion somehow did not. And, he played on one of the most famous lines in hockey, the Triple Crown line with Charlie Simmer and Dave Taylor. Dave Taylor's a Hall of Famer. I don't think Charlie Simmer is, but, it's unbelievable that he is not more beloved in the hobby. I want to, and Mitch Gropman is going to be joining us as our special guest in about 20 or so minutes. And because Mitch has honed in on a player like Phil Esposito as a guy who just doesn't get the love he should, I'd want to get Mitch's thoughts on Marcel Dion. So I'm just going to make a quick note to ask Mitch about Marcel Dion when he joins us, because that might give us some insight into, are we missing something else, or is it right that why doesn't the hobby give him more love? But I think there are 2 reasons I gave are pretty much the accurate. Are okay. My thoughts. Yeah.
And just some context on the card real quick. There's 10 PSA 8.5s, 56 PSA 9s. There's actually 6 PSA 10s of this card, and last sale for a PSA 8.5 was $1,111 back in February of 2021.
Okay. Yeah. So 1,111. This card is basically there right now. So yeah, we'll see where this one ends. Interesting to see, but I think this is a nice copy. My personal collection copy of a Dion is actually a PSA 8.5. So I have one of these exact, the exact slab, I guess, but of course my copy will have its own unique little aspects to it. As we roll through some of what I think is the ugliest set in the history of O-Pee-Chee, the 72s, which is really unfortunate for me, Josh, because you know how a lot of people like to collect their birth year? Well, this is mine. So yeah. Unfortunately, but this is cool. I do want, now these are Topps cards, second year Guy Lafleur and a Topps PSA 9. That's listen, as ugly as the card is, that's my opinion. The beige with the green, with the red, with the yellow. It's just, this thing just says Clash everywhere. Check out the Jim Lorentz card without an emblem on the front of his jersey. No Buffalo emblem on the front of that jersey. I've never noticed that before on this card, probably because I've never really paid attention to this card before. Also because I don't even know who he is, but that's okay. This will go into someone who's working on the top set on the PSA set registry, as will this Wayne Mackey. These are both PSA 10s, so that's pretty cool. I want to thank Al G for letting us know that both Katarinic and Didier Petrie are Hall of Famers, and he even included the year. Thank you, Al. Greatly appreciate that. Tom Harrison says that some great players who never won the Cup: Gilbert Perreault, Jean Rattel, Brad Park, Daryl Sittler, and Dale Hawerchuk. Tom, I think you said Dale Hawerchuk too, but I don't quite see it there. And as well as Marcel Dion for sure. And Todd McDonald says that I think LA is the big reason. If he played for Montreal, would be a different story. 100% it would be. Bang on with that. Wiz Pulls, welcome, says pre-Gretzky LA stigma makes a lot of sense. Robitaille, probably another victim of that, was an amazing player that people overlook. I mean, until Alex Ovechkin came along, Luc Robitaille was the highest scoring left winger of all time. So Luc Robitaille is in that category of under-loved. Tom Harrison, thank you for recognizing my guy, Dale Hawerchuk. I appreciate that. All right, let's scroll on through here. The 73 is another year I don't love the looks of, but it's grown on me. Larry Robinson, Bill Barber, Billy Smith, Eric Nystrom, some of the key rookies in 73. Hockey, of course, these old team pictures. You don't see these a lot anymore, if at all. They were always cool. As a kid, Josh, I always loved chasing these team picture cards. I don't know why, but I did. I just thought they looked cool. That's why. Then we're moving into the 78.
What about that Ron Lowe mustache, Jeremy?
Yeah, that is a stash for sure. That reminds me of the Paul McLean mustache. If anyone out there remembers Paul McLean, who was Dale Hawerchuk's winger for many years and an assistant coach with the Detroit Red Wings for several years as well. We're scrolling through some 79s. I did notice this Tony Esposito, but it's a 6. I mean, $10, probably about right. Like, a lot of these cards aren't worth the grading anymore, but it is what it is. They're out there and people want to move them. Michel Goulet, one of my favorite players from the 80s, a PSA 8 Opeachy, $64. Again, not a, it's all budget dependent, but if you can afford to spend, $200 to $300 to $400 per card of a Hall of Famer, you're probably going to look for these cards from the 80s in 9s, in mint and better versus near mint. That said, if you're more about quantity and you want to cover the history of hockey, Michel Goulet, 1,000-point man, I believe is a Hall of Famer. He better be a Hall of Famer if he isn't. He was so entertaining to watch playing with Peter Stastny and the rest of the Quebec Nordiques. Scrolling through, we're into the 81s. Nothing there that I've starred, so let's keep on going. We want to get through all these pages if we can here, guys. And just so you know, extended bidding starts in 2 minutes. So that's when, if a bid isn't placed on an item in the first half hour, which starting in 2 minutes, the auction will end. That auction will end. So, but everyone's eligible nowadays for that. Some of these Nielsen cards, I was never a fan of these. I just don't like the looks of them. But this one right here is catching my eye right now. I don't know how many cards I've ever seen with Gretzky in the process of hopping over the boards and onto the ice. This might be the only card I'm aware of that has this picture. What I also noticed is you got Mark Messier right there. That looks sort of like Paul Coffey to me right there, but I could be wrong on that. Not sure who these other two guys are, but even better, that's my dad right there. No, I'm kidding. It isn't. I don't know who that is, but could you imagine being in the background of any of these cards? I would love to. In any event, that's a pretty cool pose, no? What do you think, Josh?
Love it. Yeah, he looks so young.
He looks so young, 1982. No doubt. And that card is sitting at a measly $13 in PSA 8, but this is a whole set based on Wayne Gretzky, so I'm sure there's several people collecting those. I also starred this one here, Josh. This is the 84-85 Opeachy rookie card of Dave Andreychuk. This is a BGS 10. And as we've discussed before, as Josh is undecided how he feels about that, and we're going to check in with Josh every week to see if he's made any progress in his mindset on these. But this is, almost certainly a card that is not pack pulled, but it was, it's still an authentic, legitimate card that was printed at the Opeachy factory at the right time, but just came off a sheet later on. Josh, BGS 10, that's a very high grade. Everything is a 10 except the centering. When you see edges of a 10 by Beckett on an Opeachy card from the 80s, you just, it's a great indicator that it is, as we call, sheet cut or non-pack pulled. What do you think of this card, Josh? And how willing would you be to add it to your collection?
I think I'm starting to edge towards my appreciation of the wire cut and a little bit of the frayed edges. And I just think because it's something that's so uniquely hockey. Like if you come from any sport and you see a late 70s, early 80s OPG with all kind of fraying on, or what the term is, on the edge, you're going to think that this card is trash. It's really something that you learn and grow into and start to appreciate about the hobbies. So I, as like 10th grade, and kind of a sucker for that card, I want that that edge because it just feels more, I think, maybe authentic to me to the time.
That's exactly sort of my positioning on it. Just more authentic to the time. These edges are super sharp. If this was a Topps card, we wouldn't have an issue with it because Topps was just produced in a at a higher quality. But at the end of the day, that BGS 10 means a lot to a lot of people. It's a pop 1 of 13. So again, a BGS 10 is harder to get than a PSA 10, and so this seems like there's been at least 13 sheets cut and slabbed along the way. $470. All this said, I'm not going to sit here and say don't collect these. Like, this is a personal decision, and I'm going to respect anybody who says that these are welcome in their collection, and I would be very happy for them. I wouldn't say, oh, you shouldn't do it at all. To me, it's just a personal choice. Baz, good to see you. Welcome to the show. Mark Del Rossi says, I think Dave Andreychuk is underappreciated too. Bounced around a lot of teams and won his cup with a small market team, the Tampa Bay Lightning, as I believe as captain and as an integral part of the team. So I agree. Dave Andreychuk falls in that underappreciated player category as well. Scrolling by, Cam Neely. So let's have a look at the edges on this and see if we might suspect or anything that this card might be sheet cut. And right away, you can tell it is not. That top edge just is, look at that waviness of that top edge, tells me this is a non-sheet cut. This is pack pulled. The left edge has signs of it too. The right edge is harder to see for whatever reason. I can see on the bottom as well. Card looks really good. I'm noticing a little faint scratch through here, but it's hard to see. I don't know if you guys can see it, but that just might be on the slab. Tough to tell. But overall, centering looks to be like bang on. I don't see any issue with centering. Corners, edges, all look perfect to me. No registration issue whatsoever. Look at how clear and focused his face is. I believe I'm seeing a small fisheye right there, but that doesn't bother me. So, yeah, properly graded as a 10 in my opinion. Josh, Cam Neely, someone who's on your radar? Slight delay with Josh right now.
Listen, I was born in 77, so he was... Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me now? Okay. I was born in 77, so he was right on my radar as like guys that I watched growing up, and kind of always paired him with Ray Bourque, just in my mindset as a kid. Troy and I have talked a little bit about, and you might have an opinion on this, Jeremy. He's another guy that just seems to be lost in that era a little bit and hasn't had the legacy legs that some of the other guys from the era have had. Is there a reason in your mind why he doesn't get brought up as much as other guys from the 80s? He seemed like a big star to me back when I was young.
Yeah, me too. You look at the set he's in, and he's overshadowed, I believe, by Doug Gilmour, Steve Yzerman, rookie cards, Chris Chelios, maybe even. It might have. It's a very deep rookie card set. You got Pat LaFontaine, you got Andreychuk, Barrasso. It's a deep year. Maybe that's part of it. He was Seabass. He was Seabass in the movie Dumb and Dumber. I mean, he's got a bit of a cult following. I think he's got a lot of fans. Jay-Z lets us know 50 and 50, so he scored 50 goals in 50 games. I didn't remember that, but Jay-Z also says don't show it off too much, so we know someone who might be looking to pick that one. Alex in the house, very quickly. No hockey for me to bid on, but enjoying the show. Happy and honored to have you here with us. So that's it. Those are my thoughts on the Cam Neely, Josh. Let's continue down the way here. Nothing too interesting. Here's another one of these BGS 10 O-Pee-Chee cards from the 80s. Al McInnes. The surface is a 9.5. Everything else is a 10. And this is the subgrade configuration that I expect most on a sheet cut, non-pack pulled 80s O-Pee-Chee card. The reason I expect the surface not to be a 10 is because these things were often rolled up. These sheets were rolled up and then they were unrolled and cut. So when a sheet is rolled up, you're going to have some friction, on the surface of the sheet against the, as it rolls like a poster would. So to me, no doubt this is a not pack pulled sheet cut card. But if you're going for that Andreychuk, I say go for this one too. Like, build your collection that way. I'd be very happy for you. $1,075, only 5 of these versus I think we had 13 on the Andreychuk. So pretty cool card. Al McInnes, well known, one of the greatest Flames of all time. Josh, over to you. Anything on Al McInnes?
No, I just think that it kind of goes back to what we were saying about the other BGS 10, that if you're looking for just pristine versions of a card, this one is going to be good for you. He's obviously a Hall of Fame defenseman, Flames legend. It's not my favorite image on a card of all time. I don't know if you have that.
Yeah,
it's actually a really unique in a sort of a way, for you don't see too many side profile shots like that.
I totally agree with that. That's why it's a card that's grown on me over the years. But like, I was building this set when these came out and buying packs, and this was not one of my favorite cards at the time. But as you get to appreciate Al McInnes, his shot from the point, his power play, quarterbacking abilities, and just that's what he looked like. In the helmet, the profile of the helmet. It's the kind of card, Josh, I will challenge you to see if it grows on you over the next several months as we see more and more of them. But if not, hey, that's definitely cool too. I want to go to a couple comments here. First of all, Vintage Card Collector says, with so many new people in the hobby, I think you could have people who don't know the history of sheet cut O-Pee-Chee BGS grading and see a 10 and just bid it up. And yeah, I think that's definitely an accurate statement, and that probably does happen. Mark Del Rossi says that Cam Neely, his career was cut short with a bad knee injuries. Couldn't win a cup when the Bruins made it in 88 and 90. He's very popular here in Boston, though. And his wife collected. Very interesting. But that's right. I mean, didn't win a cup, career cut short. Now, that career cut short didn't hurt Bobby Orr, but it hurts other players. Hockey Cards Up says Al McInnes was the Conn Smythe winner in 89. That's right, when the Flames won the Stanley Cup. Tom Harrison says they count team games, so that is why officially they don't call it 50 and 44. Got it on that. That's on Cam Neely, who actually played 44 games. I'm assuming, I don't know, it's by off my top of my head, but I guess what we're saying is Cam Neely scored 50 goals in his first 44 games of the season, but it was the team's 50th, meaning he was injured or sat out a few for whatever reason. Thank you for that, Tom Harrison. All right, Al McInnes, BGS 10, pretty cool card, pop 5. 21 minutes left before extended kicks in. So any of these cards that you see red underneath, if you're looking on your phones or you're looking on your own website right now, everybody, and you see this red here, there's 20 minutes left, as you see right there. If there's no bid on these cards in red in the next 20 minutes, those auctions will come to an end. Now, of course, I've starred an 85 Topps PSA 8 Mario Lemieux rookie card simply because it's the only Lemieux rookie in the auction. It's funny, like I'm looking at this and I don't see why it's only an 8 until I notice maybe there's some surface issue or surface, I was going to say scum, but maybe like maybe it is like a little bit of a just added, I don't know, grease or something right there. Maybe someone sneezed and got some cereal on it and didn't remove it properly. I'm just taking guesses here, but centering looks really good. Not perfect. It's definitely shifted low and to the left, but not horrible. it's a tops. It's an 8. I would say this is a card that there's probably plenty of, and bid accordingly. I would be basing, if I'm looking at this card, I'm really basing my intentions to bid on comps and pop counts, because it's not an eye appeal card or anything like that at this point. I'm going to give you a chance to jump in 1 second, Josh. I want to talk about Kirk Muller, who just got a bid as that blue glow shows us. PSA 10 Kirk Muller, 85 O-Pee-Chee. Sorry, 85 tops. I want to look at it a bit closer and just have a look at the centering. Centering looks pretty good. It is shifted a bit to the right, but overall, a decent card. I don't have much to say about it. $40, pop 11, Kirk Muller. I mean, Kirk Muller was great for several years. I think he's an assistant coach with who? The Montreal Canadiens, maybe. So still relevant. I always liked Kirk Muller. I had him several years in hockey pools back in the late 80s. Josh, Lemieux and Kirk Muller. Anything you'd like to mention about these two cards?
You're right about the Lemieux. The pop on the
Josh, I don't know if I can't hear you right now, so I'm gonna keep on going and scrolling along here. I'm gonna go to the next page while we wait for Josh's connection to firm up a little bit. I want to say good evening to Cards AH. Welcome to the show, Adam Holgate. The 99 holographics Gretzky, cool looking card. It's not something that I endeavor to own myself, Adam. But again, that's just an eye appeal taste for myself. Not eye appeal, but an aesthetic opinion that I have. So I'll leave that on with you. Jay-Z says, from now on, when I buy raw vintage, I'm going to ask, did it have cereal spit on it? Yeah, exactly, Jay-Z. There you go. All right. Scrolling along here. Gonna just run by, look for the next thing that I start. Well, here we have a O-Pee-Chee PSA 9 Gretzky card. First card in LA. First O-Pee-Chee card after getting traded to LA. I think it's a great card. I think it's an important card, and it's only $66 plus buyer's premium right now, so about $79 right now. Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for this card, this is a perfect copy to add, I would say. So have at her, everybody, if that's a card you're looking for. 1989 O-Pee-Chee, Joe Sakic, PSA 10, the key card from what I consider to be, the last year of vintage hockey, even though this is a massively produced year as far as hockey goes. I actually prefer the Topps rookie for this year to the O-Pee-Chee. But that said, if you want your O-Pee-Chee consistency, this is a great option. $460. I mean, this card, you could have had this card before the pandemic for $100. And then I think during the pandemic, it shot up to close to $1,000. Josh would know better than I do. And now it looks like you can pick one up for, $500 to $600. So, but Joe Sakic is worthy of everybody's collection, especially this guy right here who says, you sold me one of those Sakics at the first virtual expo. That's right. I remember that. And I'm glad. I hope you still have it. And if you do, I'm glad it's in a good home. Definitely. 90s Hockey Collector says the Sakic rookie is the start of my era. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome for sure. Josh, are you back?
I think so.
Oh, you're even better now. Now you're even quicker. Good.
Well,
okay.
Here's what I think I found. And so it's going to hamper my abilities for the rest of the show. When I started to look stuff up on my computer, the connection went haywire. So I've turned the Wi-Fi off on my phone, and I'm going to try to do as much on my phone as I can. But I do love the Sakic. I do think that, and I know you've made this point in the last couple of weeks, that it is a very interesting juxtaposition where this is one of the rare cases where a Topps version of a hockey card is generally preferred over the O-Pee-Chee. Right, $550 is kind of where it's been selling most recently.
Okay, good to know. We're gonna bring Mitch out in just a minute, but first I need to bring up a comment that I think I've made this mistake twice, and it's highly embarrassing. SSP Joel lets us know that Kirk Muller is the assistant coach for my Calgary Flames, and I don't even remember that. That's how much I see him on TV and in the media. But there we go. Kirk Muller is still playing, and that's why probably just subconsciously I recognize that I do see him sometimes behind the bench when I'm watching a game. Let's bring out Mitch. And I'm just going to unshare so we have room for everybody. Mitch Gropman, welcome back to Sports Cards Live. It's been a while. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Jeremy. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to talk about hockey cards.
Good. Well, glad to have you. You know Josh, so you did one of the master classes on the Gong Show. You covered the Cup. I believe so far you've done the 05 to 09. Is that right? Is there another
09,
to 010?
Yeah.
So you covered 05 to 2010. Is there another installment coming? Are you working on something else? Have they contracted you yet to come on again and do another episode?
Yeah. The plan is to do 2 more installments. The next one will be to the McDavid year, and then after that will be the Matthews year till present.
Oh, I like that. So three volumes of the master class on the Cup. That's exciting. I think that's a great approach as well. So very, very cool. Mitch, you love the Cup. I'm not sure if there's very many Cup cards in this auction, but that's okay. We'll get your perspective on some things. And I just know that you're a lifelong collector. Your father was in the hobby as a distributor back in the 80s, 90s. So you grew up in cards. Nice hat, by the way.
Yeah.
You just sent me look what I bought, and here it is already. That came in pretty quick.
Yeah, had to sport it for tonight.
I love it. And I mean, I got to get me one of those. Is that like an original vintage hat, or is that something that is a repro?
So yeah, I believe that these were given out at shows between 2002 and 2004 from my research. It seems to be the logo is accurate to that period.
Makes sense. Good. So for everybody, I want to let everyone know I should have mentioned this at the beginning of the show. We are going to do a giveaway tonight, similar to what we did last week on the show. Everyone who's watching will be eligible to win. You just will need to put something in the chat when I tell you to, and you're going to be able to watch and see who wins. I had put out on my Instagram yesterday during the day that I was going to do a giveaway on Sports Cards Live last night. I forgot. I just totally forgot to do it. I'm very embarrassed by that. So we'll do one tonight to make up for it. And I just want to wish everybody luck on that. What the giveaway is going to be, basically, I'm looking at little stacks of cards of all the hits from certain boxes that I've opened. I've got O-Pee-Chee, I've got Upper Deck Team Canada, I've got Artifacts, SP Game Used, and Synergy, and a box of the most recent Signature Legends, although I'm keeping a card from that break because I just want to keep the card. So in any event, we're going to do a giveaway tonight. I'm not sure which one we're going to do. Maybe I'll let you guys vote on that. Matthew says, glad you got Mitch on. Alex says Mitch should give away the hat. Yeah, I'd be all for that. I want to win then if I can. Matt throws a friendly dig. Bottom of the barrel. Yes. There you go. Cards wants to know, Mitch, is that a Charizard bedspread or cover for your couch?
Yes, it's a blanket.
Love it. That's awesome.
Nice.
That is awesome. You got a lot of friends here, Mitch. Alex says, Mitch coming on, time for me to log off.
Yeah.
I think these are all in good fun. Well, appreciate everyone, razzing Mitch a little as he comes back onto the show. All right, Mitch, we're gonna go back to screen share. I'm going to just see, because I know when I do this, we bring comments, we're gonna cut you off. So I'm gonna try to not have your head cut off. Say that in a different context. We're gonna try not to cut your head off. So I like this card here. I'm someone who's working on the Gretzky run, 1979 through till basically 1990. I think I'm only missing 1 or 2 cards. I don't think I have his 81, and I don't think I have his 90. So I might bid on this one here. I sure wish Upper Deck PSA didn't put this error note on it. It just really clogs up the label, and I don't think it's been corrected. So just kind of doesn't make sense to me that it's there. I've always wondered for my Gretzky run, because I don't need the All-Star card, but this is a pretty cool looking card. So I've always wondered, should I get this card or this card? I'm definitely settled on this one. It's the base card. I'm just gonna throw in a quick bid right now. You all get to watch what I'm doing. So I'm going to review and confirm, just bid on this to make sure it gets at least into the next window. Then I can think about it again. Oh, I'm not even in the running. Let's just up that a little bit. I'm going to go to 50. So that'll cost me, what, $60 with buyer's premium. Let's see if I'm in the lead yet. Oh, I am now. No, outbid 52. What's going on here? What does that mean? Oh, yeah, I'm outbid. I thought I said 60. I confused myself. I'm outbid. I'm going to leave it for now, but it's a pretty cool card nonetheless, at least in my opinion. Guys, any thoughts on Gretzky runs and this card versus that card? Or Mitch, anything you want to say about any of the cards we've looked at already before you jumped in?
Oh man, I could comment on a lot of the cards that you guys talked about. I just want to give a shout out to Busher Jackson, who I think is one of the more interesting figures in hockey history, where he got kind of snubbed from the Hall of Fame for a little bit because they didn't like what he was doing in his personal life. But he was really someone who was really an amazing player in his time. And then I forgot who was running the Hall of Fame at the time. And then as soon as they died, he got in the next year. I think it was Clarence Campbell, who really did not like him. So it's just, I think he's a really cool figure in hockey history. So I just wanted to give him a little shout out.
And I want to come back. I want to get Josh to pipe in for a moment, but before we do, I just want to mention, I want to ask you, I don't know if you heard, but we were talking about Marcel Dion, and you came to mind because of your recognition of the greatness that is Phil Esposito without the related hobby adoration and love and value of his cards. So Marcel Dion suffers the same sort of effect by the hobby. So actually, just take it right now if you don't mind, Josh. We'll come back to you if that's okay. But Mitch, can you just speak to Marcel Dion? Like, has he someone who you've looked into similar to the way you looked into Phil Esposito?
Yeah. So I'm probably going to end up turning this into me just pumping Phil Esposito more. But if you look at Marcel Dion versus Phil Esposito, I think both of them suffer from, for whatever reason, there seems to be this real hobby lull in the 70s. I think pretty much all of the great players, maybe besides Bobby Orr, from the 70s are really underappreciated in the hobby. But one thing that, obviously Marcel Dion never won a cup. He also never won a Hart Trophy, which I think is extremely important for hobby value, at least. And in terms of the player's legacy, what people think about them. That means he was never considered the best player in the league. There was one year he led the league in points, but because he never won he never won a cup and he never won the Hart Trophy, I think that really hurts him. But Marcel Dion was really consistently excellent. Here's a full list of players with more 100-point seasons than Marcel Dion. It's Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux, and that's it. So, yeah. He was really consistently excellent. One of the best players in the league. He just, unfortunately for him, there wasn't a season where, he was better than Bobby Clark or Guy Lafleur or Phil Esposito or Bobby Orr, which was pretty much the entirety of Dion's prime. But of course, playing on those Kings and Red Wings teams, he joined the Red Wings, right after they were, a perennial cup team, and then they were really bad until the 90s. So he just kind of got unlucky with the teams he was on, but he was excellent for a very long time in a way that almost no other player has been.
Josh, what about you? Anything to add in regarding that or the Gretzkys, or just to respond to Mitch's comments?
I think that makes a lot of sense. One of the things, though, that really made me think of for the last couple hours, because we recorded our Gong Show for tomorrow, and Troy brought up a stat. It's a little bit kind of towards the end of Dion's career, this blew my mind today that in a 20-year period from 1981 to 2001, only 3 players won the Hart Trophy.
Yeah.
Right. And so, when you think about not winning a Hart, it's like, only so very few, and I'm sure more players in the 70s won it. I don't know that off the top of my head, but I just don't know how much you punish a player who did play in a portion of his career in the 80s, given that really that the next 2 decades are so dominated by Gretzky, Lemieux, and Jaromir Jagr.
Yeah. So in the 70s, there were 5 winners of the Hart Trophy: Bobby Orr,
Okay.
Phil Esposito, Bobby Clark, Guy Lafleur, and Brian Trottier won in '79. So, there's definitely more than you got after that. But now it's become like there's like a new one every year. I mean, McDavid might go on a run here, but we'll see what happens.
And then on the Gretzky, those are, I would have been 13 years old. So that's right from my era. And I'll always have an affinity for those quote unquote junk wax era cards. And I love that design. I love that card. And to me, it's fun that I think the last sale on a PSA 10 OPC 1990 was some like $86. So, I find it fun that those cards are very affordable.
Okay, well, thank you, gentlemen. I'm going to go to some comments. Matt says, I'd like to know an early 90s design that each person enjoys the design of the most. Early 90s, that's the Fleer. The first year Fleer Ultra, I thought was a very, very impressive design. I remember the smell of those cards, the feel of the surface and all that. Either of you guys have an early 90s design you can shout out really quick?
I really like 98 Pacific Invincible. I think that's a great design.
How about you, Josh? Anything come to mind?
For me, and it's probably a little boring, but it's the 1990 Upper Deck. It was the Sergei Fedorov hockey card that got me into hockey card collecting, and just seeing that Young Guns logo for the first time. And like I said, being a teenager was just like kind of mind blowing to me. So that will always stick with me.
So you notice that Sergei Fedorov is actually the person that is on the thumbnail for the episode tonight. He's right there. That's the card on your screen right now, and in the background. But this is also the card right here. And this was the card to collect, guys. In 1991, this was the card to hit in the Upper Deck product. And this card took the hobby by storm. The French version was a $300 card for a while back then. But yeah, this card represents the whole 1990 Upper Deck series to me. This card, not the Jagger. It's this one for me that kind of represents, and I bet a lot of people feel that same way. If you were collecting cards and opening packs of this product back in the early 90s, and I don't know how many dozens of boxes I went through, but absolutely loved it. It's it's a PSA 10. This copy, $52. There's some Berets as well. These are 9s though. There's also an 8 Fedorov, which is, basically $12 is about right, I would say. But I love this card. I love the looks of it. And good luck to whoever is going to own that one. Okay, I'm gonna hover here. These are French cards, by the way. So here's the Fedorov French. There's a Bure French. There's the Matt Sundin French Upper Deck rookie, a great card from the series as well. You got Mike Modano in there too. I mean, the set is just filled with amazing rookie cards. So many great players. And here you have 3 of the key cards in the French version, which is, I think, still rarer than the English, even though they went back to the presses on them. But we're going to leave that there for a moment. And I'm going to do that and put us on the bottom. No, maybe I'm not. I'm just going to go back to, oh, sorry, guys. There we go. I'm going to put myself on the bottom so that I'm the one who's blocked. And let's go to some comments. So T-Dot says, if 81 Gretzky PSA, an 81 Gretzky PSA 9 OPC just sold on eBay for $1,100. Seems like a good price to me. Says the Gretzky OPC is gold. Goes on to say that 90 OPC Gretzky gets listed regularly. Yeah, it's not a rare card at all. Vintage Card Collector asks, when you say the Gretzky run, do most collectors go after all the cards, including the record breakers, all-stars, leaders, etc.? Vintage, I don't know if most do or don't. I can tell you I do not. I only go after the main card each year. That's enough for me. But if you go look on the PSA set registry, I think there's set registries for either of those options. T-Dot says that Marcel Dion was overshadowed by Gretzky and Esposito by Bobby Orr. That makes sense. But I mean, Dion was around in the league for like 10 years before Gretzky was, and he was good, I believe, like all the way through. So, and it's not, I don't think they played much together, if at all. Oh no, they didn't play together in LA. So I don't know if Dion was overshadowed by Gretzky. I don't think that was the case. T-Dot says that Dion was like a Ron Francis type. In the hobby's eyes, maybe, but not on the ice. I think they were completely different players. Yeah, Larry Morris is right. He put the puck in the net. Dion was a little guy. He's a little guy, and he could skate up and down the ice, and he was a goal scorer as well. Jake Dahl says Dion also overshadowed by Lafleur and Bobby Clark. Yeah, that's more accurate on the as far as the era goes. T-Dot says Dion's luster was left in a lurch when Gretzky moved on the scene. I think you got your timing off there, T-Dot. I don't think that really had much impact on Marcel Dion. Trottier says name is a goat. T-Dot says O-Pee-Chee Premier was very nice when it came out. Yes, it was. Tom Harrison, the first Topps finest with the blue bar. Yeah, that with it. So Tom's talking about and we should see if we can skip ahead and find that card, because we're talking about the first Topps finest refractor. There is a Wayne Gretzky card, I believe. Oh, darn it. Too many cards have ended as we're half an hour in. So we are going to simply do a refresh and see if that works out for us. And we can look at more cards. My search returned no results. Let's go to page 1 of this, and we should see some cards this way. So here are the cards that are left in the auction, guys, as we speak. 4,300 we're up to on the Sawchuck, which beats the last sale of 4,530, because this here is still pre-buyer's premium. I'm actually going to skip ahead to the last page. Actually, let's just go this way, because I don't know what will be left. So we're going to keep, okay, this is sort of where we were before. The card I'm outbid on now. Here we're into the 90 O-Pee-Chee Premier cards. Just let everything catch up here. Some score hockey from 1990, the Brodeur rookie, the Yager rookie. These are low grade for the era, so I don't think that that they're going to be catching. We're not going to see bidding wars on those cards, I don't think. Matt does, congratulate everyone on their choices. 96, 97 Flair is his favorite, along with 90 Upper Deck, just like Josh. T-Dot says Marcel Dion played until 85. Gretzky was in the league for 6 years. Yeah, certainly in the same league, but not on the same team. And I guess that's what I thought you were meaning. Trevor asked, what year is the cutoff for vintage hockey? For me, it's 89 is the last year of vintage hockey, but I know that's not a very popular position that I personally take on that. I think a lot of people would say earlier, maybe 1 year earlier, maybe 10 years earlier. I'm not exactly sure. Mitch, I want to hear from you. Anything from all this discussion coming up that makes you that has kind of made you have a thought?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of interesting discussion about Marcel Dion. I think there's a lot of everyone in the hobby wants to figure out what's the formula that really is going to make a player, more or less valuable. Like, why isn't a guy like Marcel Dion, more valuable? And so I'm just going to talk about Phil Esposito a little bit, because I'm going to do that any opportunity I get. But so Phil Esposito checks every box. He not only does he have stats, but he has the multiple Hart trophies, multiple Stanley Cups. He was the captain during the Summit years. He has Olympic gold. I mean, he really did everything. I mean, my understanding is kind of like a hero in Canada for how much he was great for Team Canada even. So to me, Phil Esposito checks every box. So I do think there's this, for whatever reason, I think it might have to do with, the fans from the 70s. Maybe they aren't as interested in cards. I don't know, because I think down the line, people are going to look back and start to really appreciate them. We're already kind of seeing it with Bobby Clark, who had very, very little hobby value. And recently, he's really, his cards have really gone up in value. So I think we're going to start to see it with the other guys like Dion and Esposito, even the goalies like Ken Dryden. And he doesn't have that many cards, but Tony Esposito has very, very few or very little hobby love. So I think that will start to change. You're seeing Glenn Hall is more of a 60s guy start to get some more hobby love too. So it's really interesting to figure out, what is it that makes the hobby tick? And it's not a science. It's just the player has to have something that makes you go, I want to have some of his cards. So hard to really, quantify what that is, but it's interesting to think about.
You've noticed that Bobby Clark's values have gone up recently?
At least for like his cup cards, patch autos that I follow. I don't know about his vintage cards.
No, okay, interesting. And I think that's pretty awesome and definitely worthy. I mean, Bobby Clark is he was one of Wayne Gretzky's biggest inspirations on his style of play, even though it may not have ended up that way when Gretzky was a youngster. Bobby Clark was his biggest influence, as said by Wayne Gretzky on the Conan O'Brien show several years ago. That you can find the clip on my Instagram if anyone's interested to see that. Josh, what about you? Any comments on this?
I think I really like what Mitch said, and to some extent, Troy and I on our show have spent the last year trying to figure out what that formula is. And the more you learn, the more you realize there really is no formula. And I think it does come back to that sort of mystical connection that a player has with fans and collectors that is in some cases hard to predict and definitely hard to explain. But I'm also starting to think that that's part of what makes this hobby so awesome too. If there was just a simple formula that you input goals, input trophies, input Stanley Cup champions equals hobby value, that it wouldn't be as fun to really, follow this hobby as it is.
Yeah. And you notice like a lot of players, their hobby value is almost just a reflection of them having a huge fan base rather than any accomplishment or like a Stanley Cup. Like Pavel Bure, never won a cup, and he doesn't have 1,000 points. He doesn't have a lot of those accolades, and he's not Canadian. But he was such an exciting player to watch. I think, if you grew up in the 90s, he was like must see TV at Pavel Bure. So I think just something like that you can't really quantify. It also, the fact that he hasn't signed too many cards, so that's another factor, at least for autographs and game use cards. That is a huge factor for their values.
That's true. Pavel doesn't have a lot of cards. The cards he does have, especially those from your favorite Mitch the Cup, go for some really good money because they're just so few and far between. So yeah, well said there. This card was interesting. Let's have a look at it. This is the 2014 O-Pee-Chee Platinum Golden Treasures, Steven Stamkos, another player who was like the hobby darling for several years when he was a rookie, and this a couple years subsequent to that, who's just doesn't get the love anymore. Maybe he's overshadowed. We've talked about it before, but let's say, I mean, this is if this was any other sport, if this was basketball, this would be a $15,000 card. In hockey, it's not even $1,000 at this time, and he is that good of a player, and he's a Stanley Cup champion 2 times. Like what's wrong with it? What's wrong with this guy? Maybe the design of the card isn't the nicest O-Pee-Chee Platinum design, but I think it's still really cool. I'd love to have this card. It's just not where I'm putting my money right now. We're at $775, so close to $1,000. Or just over 900 right now with buyer's premium, but a pretty cool card here. I just got to shout out this. I think this was my card at one time. I think I might be wrong. I think I owned like this exact copy. I remember this patch of Jacob Trouba when I was collecting all the new Winnipeg Jets. But in any event, if I did sell it along the way, and I would have, obviously someone else is selling it on PWCC. I do not currently own this card. But Josh, what do you think of this, the Golden Treasures and the hobby's appreciation for them, and a bit about Stamkos, who I think has gotten a bid since we've looked at it?
Yeah, well, it's, if you want to, there is a formula for cards that sell and that are chased, and anything gold, O-Pee-Chee, anything shiny, and the fact that it's a 1-of-1 is a big bonus. So I think it's an amazing card. This is a card that you would, if you're buying for your PC because you're a Stamkos guy or you love the Lightning, I don't think you'd ever get sick of it. And if you ever wanted to move it, this would not be a hard card to sell at all. And I think as far as Stamkos, going back to our conversation from a minute ago, somebody could write a book on why there's no hobby love for any of 4 or 5 players on the Tampa Bay Lightning. You look at Kucherov, who is again one of only 3 players now this season with 100 points behind McDavid and Draisaitl. He doesn't get much hobby love. Vasilevsky from probably is the most respected out of them, but you've got Victor Hedman, you've got Braden Point, who just eclipsed 40 goals for the first time and is still in the prime years of his career. And whatever the magic is that draws people to hockey cards, it ain't in Tampa Bay. I'm telling you that.
Yeah. And David Pasternak had his 50th and at least 51st goal. I believe that was that today or yesterday. I'm a little hazy. I think that was today. Yeah. I remember seeing that. So nice to see Pasternak hit 50. Not that we doubted that he would. I think the big one is, are we going to see McDavid hit 70? I don't think we don't see that. What do you guys think, Mitch?
I think probably not 70 for McDavid this year.
What's he at right now? I thought he was already at 60. Is he not there?
Maybe at 60 or 61. I know he's at 60.
I think.
And then beyond that, we have Crosby is 6 points away from 1,500.
Yeah, he's at 60 now. But I mean, you know, 1 goal. I think people kind of, even for McDavid, 1 goal per game is kind of lofty.
I'm going to say he gets there. I'm going to put it into reality. I think that'd be amazing. But Josh, here's your favorite guy. One year, I don't mean your favorite. I mean a player that you're mystified by, but Leon Draisaitl, 2014 Premier. Is this a rookie card? Is this a rookie year card? No, he's 13, isn't he?
No, this is a rookie card.
This is a rookie. Yeah.
We should probably skip this one.
Okay. Fair enough. Too late though, Mitch. PSA 5. So low grade for a modern card. I wonder why. I actually want to see if we can, and maybe there's a scratch right there, but that's not going to bring it down 5 points. That rounded corner is really just the way the cards are made. That's not a true rounded corner. At least I don't think it is. Autograph looks good. I mean, a little lighter streak here along the bottom, but doesn't really bother me. Mitch, do you know why this card is only a PSA 5?
Yeah, I mean, not that I'm bidding on it, but I've been looking at it closely, and I think it's just a huge scratch. I mean, I don't know PSA's formula, but it's a pretty big scratch, and it goes. If you actually look, it goes. If you zoom in, it goes all the way down the side of the card. It's not just that one brighter spot, but it keeps going.
So there it is. There comes all the way down here. Yeah. It's hard to see in the white, but I imagine it may continue down in this region as well. Well, good luck to everybody bidding on this card. I think it's a rookie year auto patch parallel out of 10. I think there might have been a 1-1 that year as well. I probably is a 1-1 as well, but hey, only one person can have that. It's a pretty cool card. You got part of the emblem right there. That's the bottom where it says Oilers along the bottom of their chest logo. So pretty cool card, sitting at 650. I'm sorry, Mitch, but that seems low to me, even in a PSA 5 holder. So, but I kind of got to say what I think on that,
No, for sure. What's interesting about Steven Stamkos, going back to him, is that there was another Stamkos card in the auction, a Cup RPA of 99, 2-color, and that ended for like just under $1,600 US. And just to put it into perspective, the last Nick Suzuki sold for over 2,000.
What have you done for me lately? That's what our hobby should be called. The "What have you done for me lately" hobby. Josh?
I got a quick comment on the Draisaitl Premier, and it's not so much about that specific card, but one of the really interesting things that we've kind of been digging into Premier is on our show, what we've tried to do is sort of sort out as we're learning kind of the hierarchy of sets. So obviously you have the Cup at top, and then you think, well, what comes next? Is it Ultimate Collection? Is it Premier? Is it Black Diamond? And I don't know, Mitch, you might actually know something about this, but if you look at secondary market sales all time for Premier, they're really low. I think the highest selling Premier card ever is 10 grand or less. It just doesn't seem to have a big secondary market following as a set. Not that $10,000 isn't a lot of money, but when you compare it to other sets that have cards well into the 6 figures, it's a little puzzling to me why the secondary market sales are so low on Premier. I don't know if either of you guys know the answer to that.
Go ahead, Mitch.
I think Premier is a set that Upper Deck has kind of struggled to. I mean, this is the longest run of Upper Deck Premier that they've had. You had in the early 2000s, you had 3 years of Premier, which at the time was one of, if not the most high-end hockey product. And then they stopped it until 07, 08. They made O-Pee-Chee Premier. And then now they have, since 14-15, that was the first year that they brought Premier back after they discontinued O-Pee-Chee Premier. I think it really suffers just from brand equity because it kind of is like a little disconjointed as a brand. I agree with you. I mean, they have a bigger patch swatch than the Cup. I really like the acetate finish. It's kind of similar to like National Treasures, where it has the acetate with a big patch and a nice on-card auto. And it's not as short printed, but I think they're usually pretty nice looking cards. Usually they look better than the Cup, in my opinion, but it doesn't have the Cup logo on it, so it's not going to get that kind of treatment. But the patches are bigger. They look really nice, but I think that's really all it is that people just don't have that, oh, I want the Premier card in the same way that they have that, oh, I want the Cup, I want the Young Gun, I want the Future Watch kind of mindset.
Yeah, I'm just going to go to comment here. The T-Dot says it's simple supply and demand, which he's right about that, but that's not the question that was asked. The question was, why is that? Why is the demand where it is? It's not as simple as it's simple supply and demand. Why is the demand not there? I think that was your question, Josh. And I think, I think it's just, it really has to just come down to, what do they like? And I don't know the answer. Why don't they like the Premier? Is it because it's another rookie patch auto and maybe they just, maybe the hockey hobby is too interested in things like Ultimate and the Cup and SP Authentic limited auto patches or material patches? I guess there has to be a ranking of all these different types of cards, and Premier, as far as auto patches go and RPAs goes, is maybe at the bottom. Also the serial numbering, right? There's the more of them. I believe there's more of them.
199, I think.
Cup cards. 199 is like the lowest tier, and 99. I think that's it. Are there 249s?
No,
I'm not sure.
199 and 299.
Thank you. 299 is bigger than 249 in the Cup, and 199 is bigger than 99 in the Cup. Ultimate is usually out of like, I think 100 or so or something like that. And SPA with a Future Watch auto patches are out of 100. So it might just be that it's just not as popular because of all the competing products. Does that make sense? What do you guys think?
I think it makes perfect sense. And, you look at, the flip side of this coin is if you're a collector and you want a really nice card or RPA, which a beautiful patch and a great design, they're much more affordable than a lot of the other options out there, right? A McDavid RPA from the Cup costs a house at this point, where you can get a really nice one from Premier for a lot less than that.
True. Mitch, anything to add?
No, I think we covered it. Yeah, you notice with the biggest brands, the Young Guns, the Future Watch, the Cup, those are all products that are at least 18 years old now. So I think it's a big contributor being able to, kind of go to that subset each year. So maybe in 10 years, people will develop an appreciation for Premier. So we'll see.
Okay, well, let's go to some more comments here. T-Dot says aesthetics, which I think is definitely a big part of it, because again, you're going to collect what you like to look at, but I think the Premier cards are pretty nice, but maybe they're just not nice enough. Maybe they're just not. It could be aesthetics. It could be brand equity. It could be a combination of these things. Cards AH says, if I'm going to buy high-end RPA, I'm going to spend the premium to buy myself a Cup card. I think you're far from alone on that position. Cards AH. Nick Martelli says, I think in hockey, the more exclusive product is what they want. Some with Young Guns, nobody cares for marquee rookies or MVP. Same with Young Guns. Nobody cares for marquee rookies or MVP rookies. Yeah, I think, again, we'll shoot for the top sort of mentality. Eugene says, I think there are too many products out there, and if people are going to spend money on an RPA, you might as well just spend it on a cup rookie. Okay, so there's 2 votes for that position. T-Dot says it's yearly continuity of value. I'm not sure what you mean, T-Dot. I think you might just mean that it's happening the same thing year over year, which is consistent. And Name says, I don't know if there was a problem with the stamping in UD Premier during Ethan Bear's rookie year, but some were out of 243. That's interesting. We've seen things like that in the past, the odd time where some cards, there's just fewer than others. You saw it in 06-07, the Cup with Ryan O'Brien, something like that was out of 50. I don't know, Mitch, you're probably aware of that card. The only Cup
Liam O'Brien.
Who?
Liam O'Brien, I think his name is.
No, it wasn't Liam. This is 06-07, I believe. It's the only RPA in the Cup, real RPA, to be out of 50, which is a real low number. Add this to your, kind of trivia, Cup trivia.
Yeah, I've seen the card before. I've never held one. That is something I should know.
Not in my house, Josh, to your text message.
Oh, that was to you. That was to my wife. Sorry.
Oh, dude, okay. you sent that to me. Sorry, guys. I got to go back to my app here for PWCC. Okay. I've won everything I was hoping to win tonight, except for one item that is still alive. And I've been outbid. So I'm going to put in another bid on that right now, because at this point, I may as well just try to win everything, even if I'm going to spend a few more dollars on an item that is more than I want. But I am now the current high bidder on it, and we got to wait for the next level to get through. Okay, Shane O'Brien. Thank you, Eugene. Nailed it. Shane O'Brien's the player. Okay, I want to do more. There's still some really great comments here, guys. From a bit earlier, T-Dot said Expo was a beast. No doubt. The Summit series, he was a hero, put the team on his back, 72 Summit. I think that's why, and that's consistent with what you guys were saying, that he was a hero in Canada. That's definitely true. Hockey Cards up to that conversation from a few minutes ago. Favorite early 90s card is the Patrick Waugh The Mask from 1990 Pro Set. The black edges make it tough grade, very low pop in PSA 10. Fantastic looking card that started all the mask cards that came out after. Very true. And yes, I don't know that I've, in all these years of covering auctions, I don't think I've ever seen that card at auction. I just don't think I have. Not in PSA 10, at least. Tom Harrison says 1968 till 1980, Esposito, most goals, assists, and points. Jean Rattel, second in those categories. And that's a 12-year period. That's a long period of time. So very important player. Trevor Coulter says Esposito just made the Lightning's inaugural Hall of Fame class, as well as our founder. Yeah, he was a founder of the team. That's right. Congratulations to him. Sports Card 613 in the house. Good to see you. Welcome to the show. T-Dot loves the 81 record breaker. Gretzky. Tom says 1960, 1980. Esposito, most points. Makita, second. Jean Rattel, third. Believe it or not. That is interesting, because Esposito didn't come into the league until 65. Meanwhile, Jean Rattel was 61, I believe. So very interesting stat there, Tom. Thanks for sharing. T-Dot says the 1772 Bruins were Gretzky's inspiration as well, and how? Okay, good to know. 91 Pro Set for the mask card. Thank you for clarifying that, Hockey Cards. Yeah, I like Tom Harrison. In case you haven't noticed, Jean Rattel was my favorite player. What about you, Mitch? Jean Rattel. What do you know about Jean Rattel, as 3 more cards have sold on the top row, the second year? Sorry, I'm going to let you answer the question, Mitch, because I can go on and on.
Yeah, I mean, I know who he is. I don't know any cool fun facts. I know he the line he was on had a name, and I've been trying to think of it for the last 60 seconds. I'm sure he knows. He was on a famous line. I know that.
On the was it with Rod Gilbert?
Yeah.
You're trying to think of the name of the line.
Yeah, it's blanking on me, but yeah, I mean, definitely not someone I've looked into too deeply. I was definitely, as a kid, I watched every Stanley Cup game. that's ever been on TV, and so I didn't see too much of him because he wasn't. Maybe I'm sure he played in one or two, but I didn't see too much of him, and he didn't. I don't think he won any awards that I can think of.
Well, thanks for that. Thanks for that commentary. I do appreciate it. Cards AH wants to know, are you guys excited for Expo season? Well, the Toronto Sport Card Expo is literally weeks away. Raise your hand if you're going. Yes, I love it. I can't wait to see you guys there. I can't wait for it myself. The answer to your question, Cards AH, is no, I'm not excited. Excited it's not strong enough of a word for how I feel about the Expo coming. I'm more than excited. For everybody who's watching, listening, I have made the reservation for Jack Astor's for Thursday night. That is Thursday. Is that the 20th or the 19th? Whatever. The Thursday of Expo of April. Reservations for 8:00 right after the show ends. Please come. T.I. is raising his hand as well. I love it. Oh, that's Troy. That's Troy Iverson right there. So, yeah. Come if you're in Toronto, if you get there early enough, if you live there, come to Jack Astor's on Thursday night. We're gonna have a big party again, just like we had in November. Everybody's invited. Bring a friend. You don't need to reserve. Made the reservation for 75 people. I just hope there's room for me when I get there. But if not, that's fine, I guess. But yeah, please come to that. Want to let everybody know about that. And plus, Josh is going to be there, right, Josh? Mitch is going to come. You guys are there in time. You're in Toronto in time to come. Well, the show starts Thursday night. We're going to do it right after the show, the preview night.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Oh, yeah. So I have a question for you guys. Being a first-time spring expo guy, what am I going to notice in difference between the fall and spring expo?
I mean, honestly, for me, not much. They're always, some people say the fall expo is better. To me, they're the same. They're both really, really good. And so I don't know, maybe the climate will be a little bit nicer.
Okay.
That would probably be the only thing. Yeah. T-Dot right there says the weather. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Me and T-Dot are on the same page there. Yeah. The weather, I think there's that. And I just want to call out quickly, Cards AH mentions that there's the Edmonton Expo as well, May 5th to 7th. I will also be at that one. So I think I'm probably the only one on the screen that's going to that. But thank you. I look forward to seeing Cards AH there. Very quickly, too, here. Tom Harrison, for you, Mitch, the gag line with
Hadfield, goal a game.
Goal a game line. Hadfield,
Yeah.
Gilbert, and Rattel. Yes. There you go. Very good. Very good. Nick Martelli saw my post on Instagram. I may pass by if I have time. Well, listen, Nick, you're being a little non-committal here. I may pass by if I might have some time. I mean, I see where your priorities lie, Nick. That's okay. I hope you can make it out. That'd be great. I have to place a bid here before the time runs out on this item. So let's just do that very quickly and piss off the person I'm in a bidding war with right now. I'm the highest bidder, and we just added 5 minutes to the clock. Ben Mitchell is coming up from Philly. Ben, I think I wrote back to you, but my scanner is a Epson V550. That is my scanner, Ben. You messaged me, and that is what I use. T-Dot says, for once, we're on the same page. T-Dot will have we'll have ourselves a bit of a fist pump and more. I look forward to seeing you in Toronto. Can't agree with everybody all the time. That's for sure. Nick Martelli says lots of hockey, but you will notice more Jays baseball in comparison to the fall show. So there you go. Josh, maybe a difference there. Adam Holgate hasn't noticed a difference. So good stuff. Good stuff. All right. What do we have left in the auction here, guys? Looks like we had 19, but now we're down to the Didier Petrie. We got the Kirk Muller PSA 10. We have a Parkhurst French Dominic Hasek. The McKinnis sold for $2,300. Josh, that looks like an impressive number to me. I wonder what a PSA 10 would do. I don't know, but I wonder.
I'll look it up.
Okay, thank you. The Mitch, did you win the Draisaitl for $840?
I did not. I was the underbidder.
You were, huh? But you were deliberately the underbidder. Is that right? Like you decided to just step aside?
Yeah.
Somebody was asking about, oh no, it was a different card, but this is what I thought they were asking about. I think someone mentioned Did someone? Yeah, I think someone mentioned the Invincible maybe earlier. I think it's a really cool looking card. I think it's really just a base card though. I don't think there's anything special about it, but low pop in PSA 10, $100 for what is a beautiful Gretzky card. You know, it's got that headshot in the bottom corner, similar to the 84 O-Pee-Chee and Topps cards. What else happened here? Miro Heiskanen Young Guns SGC 10 did $43. We're still alive on the Carter Hart. Mitch Marner SPX Gold out of 25 does $384. This Jumbo McDavid looks like a ticket of sorts. Pop 101 is at $600 and still going. Ville Heinola, we won't talk about that. McDavid Draisaitl, is that out of 25? It is. These are cool. These are insert parallels out of 25 from the first new release, the last year's Metal Universe hockey. These are really cool. Only 25. That seems like a good deal to me. Yeah, $160 for these two guys out of 25 from Skybox Metal Universe. That's a cool insert, guys. This is a card where you know, it's relatively cheap. If anyone's looking for a relatively cheap insert that has Connor McDavid on it, and if you don't mind the SGC slab in 9.5, or you just don't mind this black border this insert that they put in to their slabs, and know that their slabs are also wider and I think taller than other slabs. So they don't really fit uniformly very well. But if you don't mind the SGC slab, this is a pretty cool card for $160, even if you just want to crack it out. What does a Canvas Lafreniere PSA 10 do? $62 for Alexis Lafreniere. That would have been what, $500-600 when it came out in the fall of, what was that, 2019, 2020?
It's about $30 too much too.
Yeah, maybe. So what do we got? It looks like there's only I'm gonna do another one of these things, because I'm gonna just unshare as I do this, because I want to see how many cards we have left right now in the auction. While that is refreshing on my other screen, Tom Harrison says the CGC Sports Illustrated guy you interviewed is awesome. He pressed some magazines for me. James Kehoe. Yes, Tom, James Kehoe is awesome. A great follow on Instagram, YouTube as well, if you're into graded Sports Illustrated magazines. 90s Hockey Collector says the Pacific Invincible are very nice, especially the variation. Well, I don't think that was a variation. Was it 90s? Can you let us know if that was a variation? But anyway, we're down to 3 cards now in the whole hockey auction out of 313 that we started with. These are the 3 Dominic Hasek, Ville Heinola exclusives, and the McDavid Draisaitl Alliance insert gold parallel at a 25. And again, this card comes with my recommendation. I mean, it just does. I think it's a cool card. Base card. Thank you, 90s, for that. Trevor Coulter won the Stamkos. Congratulations on the Stamkos Golden Treasures from O-Pee-Chee Platinum. Trevor, sincere congratulations. I think that is awesome. Guys, congratulate Trevor while we're here together.
Trevor messaged me, like, he's like, do not talk about that Stamkos when you're on there.
And then I bring it up.
So, Trevor, I kept my word.
You know what,
no,
Jeremy, one interesting card is that I would love to see the price on. There was a McDavid Young Guns SGC 10 gold label in the auction. You just don't see those very often.
Well, why don't we do this? We're going to go here, and I'm going to go to status, and I'm going to go to now closed, and that should bring up all the items that are no longer alive. And oh, you weren't watching. Here we go. Let's bring it back on screen. There we go. And I guess, you know what I'll do, Josh? I will sort this by highest price, because the hockey part of this auction is basically over now. I think there might be one item left. So is this the one you're talking about, Josh?
Yeah, it's a pretty rare. There's not a lot of McDavid Young Guns that have been graded by SGC. I think something like only like 170 total. But when you compare what a PSA 10 goes for, that is a pop count of almost 2,500 now, goes for not much more or not much less than that. And it's just really interesting to me to see where there's really 3 grades right above a PSA 10 right now. It's the SGC 10 gold label, the BGS 10 pristine, and then the BGS 10 pristine black label, right? And so there's very much the SGC discount applied here. And to me, that's a really smart buy. Just whether you crack it someday or because I don't know about you, how you guys feel, but I really believe that SGC are pretty good and tough graders, and so that I would be pretty confident that that's a very nicely conditioned card.
Yeah, I think it's a great candidate for, just from a pure value. If you're only in it for value, or not, I shouldn't say that. If you have uniformity in your collection and you don't want one SGC card while you have, maybe your whole collection is tag graded. What do I know? Maybe it's all PSA. You want to, that's a great candidate. You're almost guaranteed, I would think, a PSA 10 on this card. Unless you damage it in the breakout process. But hopefully you wouldn't. Look at this. Stamkos Cup RPA. We didn't even get to look at it. Sells for $1,560. That's a steal. That's an absolute steal. I don't know why why it isn't graded by Beckett, but I mean that's just a joke of a price right there. Really cheap. A pack or one pack of 08, the cup, does $1,140. There might be a Stamkos in this pack right here. You never know. The Marcel Dion did $1,050, so pretty much on par with what we were talking about earlier, Josh. And our friend Trevor won this Stamkos for $1,080, but he didn't mention that it was trimmed. I think that was just a joke to make sure no one else wanted to go for it. So very cool. The Dave Andrechuk BGS 10 does $930, $840 on the Draisaitl. The Didier Petrie does $720 and a PSA 4.5. No more bids came in on this McDavid, $720. Beautiful Gretzky auto, $630. Like, this card probably sells for what, Mitch? What do you think? $1,000 if it's broken out of that slab? Like, it's a Gretzky auto out of 12. Am I wrong on that? I really don't know.
I think I would have guessed, maybe 800. I think 1,000 for just a plain auto. It would be for a parallel auto would be kind of high. I think 630 is a very low price. I do think the PSA 6 definitely hurts it. I also, I don't know if we talked in the beginning of the show about Didier Pitt, but he was a really important player for the Canadiens' first cup. So I mean, that's a really cool card to me.
Yeah, it's a. So we were talking about where to go. Where is that Didier Pitt? Right here. Yeah, the C55 Didier Petrie. Yeah, really cool card, no doubt. And we did talk about it at the beginning of the show. I think it's a great copy for sure. Josh, I want to get you to talk a little bit about, first of all, you have a podcast coming out in 7 hours, I believe, if you get it done in time. And you guys spoke to Billy Celio about the changes that are being made to the format of Upper Deck and the Young Guns that are coming out in Series 1 next year. What do you want to let us know about that, or just tease us a little bit? Because I can't wait to listen to this I love Billy. I can't wait to listen to the podcast. Get me excited for it, please.
Well, sure. Yeah, there's really the biggest changes to the flagship product in probably at least 10 years. And so, it's, we think a pretty big deal, and we wanted to get Billy on right away to answer some of the big questions. The marquee of the story, of course, is there's a 1-of-1 Young Guns incoming. So happens to be the same year as Connor Bedard will be entering into the NHL. So I would love to get your guys' thoughts as far as what's gonna happen when this whether he'll probably be UD1, I'm assuming, but UD1 or 2 when that comes out. Where is the what is the Connor Bedard 1-of-1 Young Guns mania going to be like?
Are you asking for a guess on the price?
Yeah. Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, let's go price and value.
You know, I'm thinking about the Ovechkin Gold PMG and what that one did. I think the Bedard has to outbeat that. If it's pulled in the in the first year, maybe it's one that kind of stays in a box for a long time and we don't see it. It's not a guarantee that it will get pulled. But I think it probably could do six figures.
Ooh, I was going to say 50K, but I'm probably way light on that.
Well, I was thinking too the bounties. Like, are we going to see, like we've seen in other sports, some guys throw out, maybe a $50,000, $100,000 bounty for that card? And the other thing that comes to mind too is I wonder how quickly it'll surface. Troy and I joked today. I don't even know if we were recording, but we're kind of convinced it's going to come out of like a blaster in a Walmart or something like that. Of course, that would be the most poetic, but.
Yeah,
I don't know where. Yeah, I'm not sure where we're going to see it come out, but I think you're going to see bounties. I think you're going to see a bounty and then a new bounty and a new bounty. I think there's going to be an auction for this card before it even sees the light of day, a public auction. I think that's pretty cool for it. It's the first time we've ever seen it. Someone could throw $250,000 at it. Like we just don't know. And like, look at what people are spending on Zion's, before he did anything. Like, you just never know. This guy could reshape the whole hockey hobby single-handedly. Mitch?
Yeah, I think one thing that Bedard cards really have going for them in terms of value is that, it's been a while now since we've had a rookie with a lot of hype. I mean, we had Laffy, but his cup rookies didn't get released until people already labeled him a bust. So it's not like people were dumping, besides his young gun, which didn't have a one of one, until Laffy. So he was a very, very high end prospect, even though he didn't pan out. But before that, probably Austin Matthews was the last like real. But Bedard's an even better prospect than Matthews, so you have to go back to McDavid to see a prospect of that caliber. And I think that's going to I think a lot of people are kind of like having these war chests for waiting for Bedard, and they're just going to put it all in there. And this is this is going to be one of the biggest hockey card chases, like one of the biggest chases for a modern hockey card that we might ever see until the next one.
I agree. T-Dot makes T-Dot. I'm totally with you on this comment. Bedard will be like McDavid Mania on steroids, and I believe that will be the case. And I remember being at the Expo when the McDavid came out, and it was the young gun, I should say, and it was pretty crazy. And it didn't stop when the Fall Expo came around, and there were more sets that were out. And then the Spring Expo came around, then the next Fall Expo, and by then we had most of his cards out, if not all of them, even the cup. I don't remember exactly, but I'm guessing it was out by then. But if not, it was out by the next Expo. Like, it didn't end. It's still the McDavid Mania is still going on. And I think that the Bedard Mania is going to be post-pandemic's version of what McDavid was. So it's going to be pretty crazy. Tom Harrison wants to know, what year does Tag start grading? The year 2000 right now, Tom, but we'll be moving back in time into 1990, into the 80s eventually. But Star Basketball, I don't know. It's just kind of outside my department if we're going to be doing Star Basketball cards when we do the 80s. Mike says, firsthand knowledge from Upper Deck on changes to 2024 flagship. Looking forward to it. That'll be released by the time we wake up tomorrow morning on the Gong Show podcast. Nick says, hopefully the numbered young guns will be tough to pull and not give them the Oprah treatment. I think they'll be easier to pull than before, but maybe not. It just depends how much they grow the overall production, right? That's what it's going to come down to. They're adding, I think we figured out, 276 more numbered young guns to the overall print run. You got the 250, you got the 25, and you've got the 1, right? On top of the 100 and the 10. And then, of course, the unlimited. And I mean, like, unlimited. Like, they're probably going to print 100,000 regular. So
I'll give this a little bit of teaser, though, but they are taking some, probably some pretty popular cards away, too. So it isn't just adding more into the Young Guns set. There's a couple cards that are being eliminated.
But not Young Guns are being. I don't think Young Guns are being eliminated, are they? Any Young Gun versions?
Yes.
Well, you only had the high gloss, the exclusives, and the regular. Those are going to live on, right?
Yeah. Okay, I'll just give it away because I'm a sucker. But the French is going away.
Oh, good.
And actually a card that I really like, but it's a completely tough Easter egg, is the UD clear cut exclusives. Young Guns are going away too.
No skin off my back there. Personally, not a collector of either of those, but there are some acetate collectors out there who might
those
be
are
upset
tough
about,
chases.
Yeah,
is it just the clear cuts, or is it the clear cuts and the acetates?
The clear cuts are staying. It's the clear cut exclusives are being eliminated.
Okay.
Which is the really SSP Easter egg.
Yeah. So my friend has like all of them. He's gonna be devastated.
Yeah.
Well, guys, Tom
the other thing that I
Harrison
would.
says-
I'm sorry. I was just going to say really quickly, one of the things that's cool about that I just to throw Billy a little bit of a kudos is, I think what you'll find if you listen tomorrow, we tried to ask all the tough questions and he'll answer them. And so for, I don't see Topps or Panini or the other companies that are willing to come on. And, one of the questions we asked him, because we heard this a lot, is, well, Upper Deck is just doing this to justify $300 boxes of flagship. So we just asked him that and said, how do you respond to that, Billy? And a ton of questions like that, and spent a good amount of time. And so hopefully we got all the answers everyone's looking for.
Well, tune in, everybody, to the Gong Show this week, releasing by the time we wake up tomorrow. I'm going to run through the comments, guys. We're gonna sign off very shortly. Tom Harrison says, does Bedard Young Gun come out at 500 or maybe 1,000? I think closer to 1,000. I think, Lafreniere was 400 out of the gate without nearly the fanfare. I think it's going to be 800 plus. Thoughts, Mitch?
I guess I'll respond to the question with a question for you, Jeremy. Is that at what point will the hobby care about the print run of Young Guns?
Once it's too late. They don't care. And I don't collect Young Guns. I don't think I have a single Young Guns in my possession anymore. So it'll be what it'll be, but depending on how many are out there, what the gem rate is and what the total pops are, it's I don't know. It's not a card that I'm going to be deploying funds into.
Yeah, like the McDavid PSA 10 having a pop of almost 3,000 is it's a multi-$1,000 card. I have to think that the hobby responds to this at some point, whether that's in a year or 5 years, I don't know. So if you have to wonder, like, does it matter if they print 100,000 Bedard Young Guns? Is that going to impact the price? You'd think it should, but I don't know if it will.
A sign that I look for is the Expo, and if you go to booths and there's the guys that just have rows of them, like if he's not going to be the next Wayne Gretzky, which I don't think he's going to be, is McDavid the new? Let's not go down that road. I don't know. I'm just going to stay out of the Young Guns game for Bedard personally, unless I open one in a pack. I'm going to sell it. That's what I'll do. Josh?
I just think you're smart, and that's exactly what I was going to say. We've been tracking sort of the value life cycle of a Young Guns, and right away they're always at a super premium. So even if you want a Bedard Young Guns and you buy a box the first day and you pull one, sell it. No matter how well he plays, even if he plays amazing, there's a good chance 6 months down the road, when the PSA pop counts start to go up a little bit, that you're going to get that card at least at a 30% value and just buy it back. So that would be my advice to people, is if it's in that first week or two and you have one in your hands, get rid of it and buy it back cheaper a few months down the road.
And that's been how it's worked ever since Young Guns were a thing, really. I mean, I think back to the Ryan Nugent Hopkins Young Guns. I remember that card out of the gate was selling for like $180, $200. And now I'm not sure what you can get one for. I haven't looked, but I'm guessing you can get one for $50, $60 maybe. So that's year over year over year. Now McDavid is, you might think to yourself, yeah, but McDavid's Young Guns came out, they were $800, $1,200. Now they're $3,000. Yeah, but there was a pandemic. So the pandemic is why certain cards, or it was the catalyst for why certain cards have gone up in value since. And McDavid's just that good. But generally speaking, Young Guns come out up here and then they go down in value. So Josh is right. Sell it and buy it back later. And unless, that won't work if we have another pandemic, or if he literally comes out of the gate and is performing at the same or similar level to Connor McDavid, then it could go up further. Cards AH said, didn't Laffy have high gloss bounties? I think he did. I think he did. We did that comment by T-Dot. Nick Martelli says, I think it will be tough for a high bounty considering it's hockey. I think it'll be around $250K at most, which is still a huge sum and life-changing money. So yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense to me. Miss Drew says Bedard will be the first mega rookie in this breaker-focused world. Lots of non-hockey folks will gamble on hockey breaks. Yeah, that's a good point right there for sure. Nick says, I wonder if regular Young Guns will have their value tank a bit considering the extra amount of numbered Young Guns now. That's a big discussion, I think. There's only 226 more numbered Young Guns. Sorry, 276 more numbered Young Guns. That's really not a lot. I don't know that that's going to have an impact on the regular Young Guns, Nick. I just don't know. Quick opinions from you on this, Josh, to start?
I just think of how many Prism numbered cards there are. It seems like there's thousands, right? So it'll be a change, but I think it won't kind of shift the Young Guns market to a great degree.
Mitch, you have a thought on that? Or
yeah, I think there's just not enough of them. It'll be, probably less than 1% of the print run. So I think it's going to be a drop in the bucket compared to the unnumbered Young Guns. I don't think they'll have much of a relationship.
Yeah, those are my thoughts too, Nick. So there you go. The three of us are on the same page, but I think it's a reasonable question to be asking. Definitely. Cards AH purged all of his high-end Young Guns this year. Yeah, me too. T-Dot says it'll be like the Aggro Peach Premier keeps going down. Too many out there. There's going to be lots of them, guys. There's no doubt about that. Bought a PSA 10 Yakupov for $10. Yeah, I mean that the guy's not in the league, so that makes sense to me. Hockey Cards Up says I've thought about Young Guns two guys, but I think I was wrong. It is the standard hockey card, the one rookie most every casual collector wants. They have a long history, affordable, and liquid. All true points to me. And I mean, this might sound snobby, but to me, they're not the cards for advanced collectors. I don't know. Take that for what it is. That's just my personal thought, and I'm willing to discuss that at length and even have my mind changed on that. But I think I just feel that way. And again, I could be way off. Cards AH says I also realized from a collecting point of view, Young Guns to me aren't fun. Because if you can go like a Gretzky rookie is awesome, but it isn't that much fun. There's 1,000 available any day you want. That's the same thing with Young Guns for the most part. So I hear what you're saying there. Jeff McMahon recently bought a Nugent Hopkins Young Guns for $45. Yeah. And he's having a great year, by the way. So for sure. All right, guys. That's pretty much the end of the comments right now. Mitch, you've known you were coming on for a couple of weeks because you couldn't come on last week. Anything you wanted to chat about that you had in mind regarding hockey cards or the cup or the Gong Show or anything that you kind of were chomping at the bit to be able to talk about tonight?
No, I mean, I just, I love talking about hockey cards. If there's anything you guys want to ask me about my opinion, I'd be happy to chat about it. There's a lot of cool cards going through. I love that there's a hockey only, coverage for this stuff. I think there's not really that much hockey content outside of like this and the Gong Show. There's a few other guys that have the hockey shows, but I think the more of it that's out there, the better. And especially like both of you guys are really great educators for the hobby, which I think is great for everyone. So I would like to just express my appreciation to both of you for what you guys do for the hockey hobby.
Thank you so much. I want to shout out Aaron Lapointe. Lapper does hockey card content coverage on YouTube and Instagram. Aaron Lapointe is Lapper. I'm not sure the exact name of his channel, but find Aaron on Instagram and YouTube. And then also the Center Ice Cardcast is another long-standing now hockey card podcast. So check out those guys. I've known these guys for years. And was there someone else that came to mind? No, I'm sure there are others I'm missing, and I apologize to them if I'm missing anyone else that's doing hockey specific content, but definitely check out those guys because they are doing it. Okay. Was there? Oh, we're going to do a giveaway. I almost forgot again. We're going to do a giveaway, guys. So let me just load up the giveaway software, and I want you guys to put some. There's JP who reminded me I forgot it last night, I should say. So I want to see you guys in the chat respond. I'm not going to tell you what's in these piles, but they're basically hits from boxes I've opened. So do you want to have a chance to win? I'll show you the stack. So this is the stack of this was 2022 Team Canada Juniors. You'll see the top card. That is Reed Dick, number 2 of 100, a goaltender. You can win all of those, or you can win these hits, which are all from the SP Signature Edition box that I purchased at Eastridge Sports the other day. So most of the hits from there, but not all of them. Whoops.
Did you get your Temu Young Future Watch, Jeremy?
Yeah, Jeremy, what did you keep?
Where'd it go? Brett Hall Evolve out of 99. Brett Hall Evolve out of 99.
Is this a good one to bring to the Expo?
Yeah, that's definitely a good one to bring to the Expo. Yeah, okay. Or I've got. Okay, so here's did I show you the top card of those? I think I did. You can also have a shot at these. This is SP Game Used Hockey. We've also got Artifacts. And again, just a random card on top. If there's base, they're not in these piles. And then there's a box of O-Pee-Chee that I did, which is this one right here. There is a card in here that Josh Madigan would like. I know that for sure. And then finally, my box of Synergy, but this is big and heavy. So I don't know. I might not give them all to one person because it's going to cost me like $15 to ship this. But maybe we'll do I'll just keep the base back or something to lighten that load. Anyway, I want to hear from you guys. If the first of those brands that I see in the chat like 2 times, we're gonna do that. So please put some votes in there, and then I will run the giveaway. You guys are the gag line tonight. Thank you so much, Tom Harrison. Thank you, Hockey Cards Up. JP says, can't wait for the episode. Josh, Hockey Gong Show has really become a staple in the hockey podcast world to me. Very good. Hawaiian 5-0 just dropped in to listen for a few minutes and hit that like button. Thumbs up, number 14. Thank you so much, Hawaii 5-0, for asking everyone else to put the thumbs up. Okay, lots of votes now. SP Stack, Charizard Blanket, SP Game Used, SP Synergy, SP Legends, Signature Legends, SP Legends, SP. Okay, so SP it is. SP it is. All right, guys. SP it is. SP Legends. Okay, you can stop voting. It's decided it's SP Legends. So I'm just going to load up the giveaway tool.
And I'll just say, if anyone really wants the Charizard blanket, they can DM me and I'll send them the link. It's not terribly expensive.
Hilarious. Okay, so you're gonna in order to qualify for the giveaway, you just have to put a post into the chat, and the post is going to be you have to do hashtag, and I don't think I have to put the hashtag to set this up. I'm going to put it in anyway. Here's what you have to do. All right, guys, I'm gonna share the screen. Oh, I gotta do it this way. Stop it, reshare. Almost forgot, JP. I almost forgot to do this again. All right, guys, starting right now, type into the chat, hashtag Mitch. Everyone who does it, and you'll see that you're going to be able to see how many people we have 0 entries so far, but the system is going to pick up on everyone that does it. Cards AH, hashtag Sports Cards Live. That will not work. Hashtag Mitch is the only way to enter the draw. We've got 25 entries. There's 66 people watching right now, guys. 66 watching. We've got 26 entries. 40 of you, a couple more in. Just under 40 of you are not wanting to enter the giveaway, and that's fine. You don't have to, but if you want a chance, we got 28 out of 66 people so far. We'll give it another minute or so, and then we're gonna spin the wheel. We are sitting at 28. Mitch, what's your last time we did this? It was with Matt Burrows, and his favorite player is Marc-Andre Fleury, who wore number 29. So we waited until we had 29 entries. We're up to 31 out of 60. We have 67 people watching now. If you want to enter the giveaway, enter hashtag Mitch into the comments, please. Hashtag Mitch. What do you think, Mitch? Good hashtag?
Yeah, I think I don't think you could do better, honestly.
Hashtag Pikachu pajamas.
There we go.
I like that one. And for whoever ends up winning this, all you need to do is send me a message on Instagram or send me an email. The email is on YouTube and on the About page. Contact me somewhere and let me know that you won. And don't contact me and say you won if you didn't, though. That's not allowed. That's not allowed. We got 34 entries, guys. 34 entries out of 60. We have 68 people here right now.
Let's try and get the Hashik number.
Hashik is 39, right?
Yeah.
Dominic Hashik
39.
number 39. We're gonna stop this. Listen, I'm actually gonna only go 10 more seconds because we're not just gonna sit here and wait for people to enter. If you don't want to enter, that is more than fine. 34. I'm gonna count down from 10 right now. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, draw. Here you go, everybody. The winner. Oh, JP was close. Todd McDonald is the winner. Congratulations to Todd McDonald. Very happy for you. I think some of you, I think Tampa got in a little bit late, wants to know what I won tonight. I'll show you guys what I won tonight. Todd McDonald, congratulations. You are the winner. Please reach out and send me your shipping address, and I will ship you these cards, hopefully before I go to Vegas on Wednesday. If not, I'll ship them when I get back. So please don't hold me to a shipping date. Okay, guys, thank you very much and congratulations, Todd McDonald. You'll get them. They will be a surprise what you're going to get. And I will just show you guys what I won tonight in the auction, which I don't think I can. I think I closed it up already on here. Let me just go back in there. I'll show you what I won. I don't think you're expecting it. I wasn't even expecting it myself. Let's go to the weekly auction, and I'll quickly share with you guys the cards as my wife is texting me saying, "Where are you?" Yep. 3 minutes. Send. All right. So my winnings tonight. Status 1. Apply. Here's what I won, guys. Why is that showing me nothing? weekly. I was in the premiere. One sec. Loading it up. And I just got to go to what I won again here. Here, I'll share. No, I won't share. I'll bring them up first. All right. Here's what I won. Apply. Let it just do its search here quickly. Site's running a little slow for me at the moment. Tampa, my IG is jaylee_sportscards live. I'm going to put that on the, so right there for everybody, all three of us on the panel, you can now see our socials on the ticker. You can give us all follows if you're not yet following us. Appreciate that. And here's what I won, guys. 5 items. Ready? Boom. Atari Defender, Nintendo Golf, Nintendo RC Pro-Am, Atari Activision Skiing, and Nintendo Gunsmoke. All games that I owned and played as a kid. I don't even know if they're graded well. I don't even care. I just, for the amount I got them for, I thought, you know what? I'm going to have these as nice display pieces. I played Defender a ton as a kid. I played skiing. I had these games on my Atari 2600 in the 80s. And of course, I had golf. RC Pro-Am was one of my favorites as a kid. And Gunsmoke, I remember playing in the arcade. And I also had the had it on Nintendo. So and I missed out on pinball. I was in a bidding war for pinball, and I forgot to get my last bid in time. So that's what I bid on tonight, guys. Graded video games. For the very first time ever have I bid or purchased graded video games. So I'm excited for those. That's going to be cool. I'm going to get those shipped in to me. And one day you'll probably see them up there behind me somewhere. So, okay. Thanks for entertaining me with that, everyone. Guys, that's going to be it. Mitch, thank you so much for joining. We'll get you on again where we can get into more lengthy discussion and get more out of your brain. Todd McDonald, you are very welcome. And bring them to the Expo. Ah, good idea, Todd. Thank you so much. I will do that. Thank you, LGC. Appreciate that. Todd McDonald, I'll bring those to Expo for you. Josh, parting comments from you.
I have one. I want to give Mitch a shout out. I'm really appreciative and grateful that he's taken the time as of late to create a Instagram account around fake hockey card patches. It's fake_hockey patches. You should go follow it. It's there's no perfect resource that exists right now, but this is a really good one, especially if you're thinking about purchasing a rookie patch auto, to go and make sure that the patch is authentic. And so thank you, Mitch, for taking the time to provide that resource to the hobby.
Yeah, happy to do it.
And I know Jeremy's done.
Yeah, I was going to say Jeremy is just as much to thank for it. A lot of the posts on there are from the Hobby Insider archives for the RPAs that he collected back in the day. So I have more fake patches, but I don't have the before pictures. So right now I want to only post ones that I can show people at least with 100% certainty that they won't have to argue with me about it. But I don't know if I'm going to eventually post. I have probably another 75 fakes that I just lost the original for. But I know people will try to argue with me about it. So I don't want to get into that, but I think it's very important for the hobby.
Well, keep it going. I support it fully. And thank you for the shout out. And thank you, Josh, for shouting it out in total. That was great. Hawaiian, thank you so much. Mahalo. Name, great to see you on a Sunday evening. Cards AH, Kickstarter for online patch upload database. Who says no? Exactly. Okay, well, good. Guys, thank you so much. No shows on Sports Card Live next weekend, as I will be at the Mint Collective in Las Vegas, but we'll be back the week after. I have my 3-year content creating anniversary coming up in April. We're going to do the giveaway. The big grand prize for the giveaway for that is going to be this Connor McDavid autograph card out of 25 from 2021 Black Diamond. This is going to be given away when I'm celebrating my 3-year anniversary doing of Sports Cards Live, the 3-year anniversary for that. This is going to be another giveaway. Brady Tkachuk out of 2020 Clear Cut. That's going to be a giveaway as well. I'm going to be stashing a few more. So Excited for that. We're going to give all that stuff away and more. Fellas, thank you again. Again, no PWCC weekly hockey coverage next week. Josh and I are going to take a day off of that. Mitch, thanks again for joining. Everyone in the chat, thank you all so much. And with that, thank you, Jeff. I see your comment. I appreciate that. We're done, guys. The episode is over. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.